Consider the anatomy of an emotional phantom. A man sits across from you. The air between you is no longer empty space. It has become a living, breathing conductor of electricity. The masks have fallen. The gaze locks. Two distinct gravitational fields surrender, collapsing into a single, profound singularity. You feel the exact frequency of home. You feel him arriving, and then a microscopic shift. The pupil dilates. The breath grows shallow. The jaw sets. He does not move, yet he is entirely gone. The warmth evacuates his eyes, replaced by a sheet of frosted glass. You are suddenly sitting across from a stranger in a fortress. You are left holding the keys to a kingdom he just abandoned. The heavy sinking exhaustion you feel in your bones right now is not born of confusion. It is born of grief. You are a sovereign, intelligent woman. You have excavated your own shadows. You do not require a fairy tale, but you are deeply, profoundly tired of watching the door slam shut the very moment the light finally gets in. The spiritual ego wants to label this a betrayal. The anxious mind wants to dissect your every word, searching for the exact moment you pushed him away. Let the analysis fracture. Let the self-blame dissolve. His retreat is not a verdict on your worth. It is a biological distress signal to a nervous system wired entirely for survival. The disarming, ego-destroying piece of your intimacy registers as a lethal attack. Let us look through the lens of psychology and neurobiology to understand the architecture of his retreat. Specifically, we must examine the polyvagal theory. The human nervous system is an ancient, uncompromising machine. Its primary job is not to make you happy. Its primary job is to keep you alive. It operates through a process called neuroception, which is a tireless, subconscious radar constantly scanning the environment for threats. For many men, and particularly for the unawakened counterpart, the deepest and most vulnerable parts of the heart have been locked away for decades. Society, childhood conditioning, and past heartbreaks have taught the masculine brain one rigid, unyielding rule. Vulnerability equals death. To be open is to be in grave danger. Imagine the architecture of this psychological defense. Over a lifetime, he has constructed a formidable fortress. Every brick is a carefully crafted coping mechanism. Every iron gate is a strict boundary designed to keep him safe from the agony of being truly seen. This armor is not malicious. It is a brilliant biological adaptation. It kept him functioning in a world that demanded his absolute stoicism. But a fortress designed to keep enemies out also traps the occupant inside. He is safe, but he is starving for connection. He is surviving, but he is fundamentally alone. Then he encounters a woman like you, someone who sees entirely through the mask, someone who holds a profound, grounded spiritual frequency. When your paths cross, a quantum entanglement occurs. This is not just poetry. This is physics. When two energetic fields interact, they share information. Your presence is an undeniable invitation to the truth. When your energetic field merges with his, you are sending a massive surge of pure, high-voltage intimacy directly into his system. You are bypassing the heavy iron gates and speaking directly to the starving man inside the fortress. Consciously, he loves it. Consciously, he craves the warmth of your light and the depth of your understanding. But subconsciously, his nervous system is screaming in absolute terror. When unconditional love floods his system, It shatters his baseline of control. To his ancient biology, this profound emotional exposure mirrors the exact physiological intensity of a life-threatening danger. His heart rate increases, his breath shortens, his pupils dilate. The vagus nerve signals a state of critical emergency. To his brain, this deep connection triggers the sympathetic nervous system. It violently initiates the fight-or-flight response. He is not running from you. He is running from the unbearable vulnerability that you represent. The sheer intensity of the connection demands that he drop his weapons. But to a man whose entire identity is built around holding those weapons, letting them go feels like stepping off a cliff into the abyss. The love you offer is a massive disruption to his core survival protocol. His biology cannot tell the difference between the ego death required for true intimacy and actual physical death. You must understand the absolute law of spiritual mirroring. The closer you get, the more your light acts as a blinding mirror. Your presence effortlessly illuminates every unhealed wound. It highlights every hidden insecurity. It exposes every feeling of inadequacy he has ever buried in the dark. True intimacy demands the complete surrender of the ego. And to a nervous system built entirely around protecting that fragile ego, this reflection is agonizing. He looks at you and sees the pure, terrifying truth of his own soul. He sees how much heavy lifting he has left to do. The glare of your unconditional love is simply too bright. He must look away to survive the exposure. So he shuts down. He numbs out. He creates unnecessary conflict out of thin air. He focuses entirely on his career and external achievements. He disappears into the cold silence. He does this to regulate his overwhelmed nervous system back to a baseline of perceived safety. He is desperately trying to reset the internal circuit breaker before the system catches fire. Even if that safety is intensely lonely, even if that safety is hollow and entirely empty. To his primitive biology, empty is always better than dead. He trades the terrifying ecstasy of connection for the quiet, predictable misery of survival. This is the central paradox of the masculine nervous system in the face of deep spiritual love. The very thing he has searched for his entire life is the exact thing his body is programmed to reject. The retreat is not proof that the connection is an illusion or a mistake. The sudden distance is the biological proof of its overwhelming, undeniable reality. It is the friction of an awakened soul colliding with an ancient survival mechanism. He is not rejecting your love. He is simply drowning in the depth of it. We must completely shatter the current paradigm. We must fundamentally alter how you perceive his sudden absence. The ego tells you a story of abandonment. The anxious mind weaves a narrative of inadequacy. You must silence these voices entirely. His retreat is not a judgment on your worth. It is a harsh biological limitation. To understand this dynamic, we must use a metaphor of pressure and depth. Imagine the vast and unfathomable ocean. You are a spiritually awakened woman. You are a creature of the deep water. You have spent years adapting to the profound depths of emotional intimacy. You have done the shadow work. You have faced the darkness within yourself. Because of this dedication, you can breathe effortlessly down here. You thrive in the heavy and beautiful pressure of quantum connection. You understand the gravity of soul merging. The deep ocean is your natural habitat, It is exactly where you find your profound peace. But consider your partner, consider the avoidant soul. He has spent his entire life swimming in the absolute shallows. The shallow water is predictable. It is easily measured. He can always feel the solid sand beneath his feet. He is in complete control of his environment at all times. The shallows require no vulnerability. They require no surrender. He has built his entire identity around this safety. He does not know how to navigate the emotional abyss. He does not even know the abyss truly exists. Then he meets you. The connection is magnetic. It is undeniably powerful. Without even trying, you bring him down into the deep water with you. For a fleeting and magnificent moment, he sees the majesty of the deep. He witnesses the glowing bioluminescence of true and unconditional love. He feels the immense gravity of something entirely real. His soul recognizes the ultimate truth of this depth. He genuinely wants to stay. He wants to exist in this beautiful space with you, but he simply does not have the lungs for it. The emotional pressure is far too much for his unconditioned system. Think of a deep sea diver. If a diver is pulled into the depths too quickly, their physical body violently rebels. The pressure literally alters the chemistry of their blood. If they do not acclimate slowly, the environment becomes toxic. They experience the bends. Their body enters a state of absolute physiological panic. Survival becomes the only objective. When he suddenly pulls away, he is not rejecting the beauty of the deep. He is simply rushing to the surface to gasp for air. He is breaking the water, panicked and desperate, seeking the familiar safety of oxygen. This is exactly what clinical psychology calls the window of tolerance. Every human being has a specific neurological window. It is a precise capacity for how much emotion, how much intensity, and how much intimacy they can process before the brain short circuits. Positive emotions require just as much nervous system bandwidth as negative ones. Profound love is incredibly stimulating. Your window of tolerance is vast. You can hold immense amounts of joy, connection, and vulnerability without losing your center. His window is incredibly narrow. The moment the intimacy exceeds his narrow window, his system crashes. The neurological breakers trip. The connection shuts down completely to prevent a total psychological collapse. When you truly integrate this understanding, the agony of his withdrawal transforms. It ceases to be a personal insult. It loses its bitter sting. It becomes a sterile and biological reality. You stop taking his survival instincts personally. You realize that his sudden need for distance is simply his nervous system attempting to recalibrate. He is violently expelling the emotional pressure so he can find his equilibrium once again. The deep ache you feel when he leaves is not the end of the story. This frustration is actually the friction of expansion. It is the necessary growing pain of a soul learning to stretch. Every single time he dips into the deep water with you, his capacity changes. Even if he panics, even if he immediately retreats, his emotional lungs get a fraction of a millimeter stronger. His window of tolerance stretches just a little bit wider. His neurological capacity to hold your brilliant light slowly increases. This is the silent and invisible work of healing. But there is a crucial warning here. He cannot expand his capacity if you are drowning him. He cannot learn to breathe in the deep water if you are constantly pulling him under by force. If you demand that he stay in the depths before his nervous system is ready, he will fight you. He will view you as the ocean that is trying to kill him. You must allow him to surface. You must let him catch his breath. Understanding the neurobiology of your connection is only the beginning of the journey. Insight without deliberate action is merely intellectual entertainment. The true work lies in the physical and emotional integration of this knowledge. How do you build a relational architecture that feels entirely secure for his nervous system? How do you honor your own profound need for connection without constantly triggering his ancient survival instincts? You must become the master architect of a safe container. This requires 3 profound internal shifts. These are not manipulative tactics or psychological games. They are fundamental biological recalibrations designed to disarm his defenses. The first shift requires you to move from pursuing to anchoring. When he abruptly pulls away, your own nervous system registers a severe and immediate threat. You feel the sudden and agonizing vacuum of his energy. You are the anxious heart left in the cold. Your biological instinct is to chase the retreating warmth. You want to send the text message. You want to demand clarity. You want to drag him back into the deep water so you can feel safe and chosen again. You must absolutely stop. You must become the heavy iron anchor at the bottom of the sea. You cannot allow yourself to become the storm. When he retreats to the shallow water, you must hold your ground in the deep. Do not swim up to the surface to beg him to return. Let him catch his breath. Let him experience the silence. When he eventually looks down into the depths, he needs to see that you are exactly where he left you. He needs to see that you are calm. He needs to see that you are entirely unbothered by his need for space. By refusing to chase him, you send a profound and literal signal to his amygdala. You communicate that you are not a predator. You communicate that you do not need to capture or control him. He is completely free to regulate his own nervous system. This radical lack of pursuit creates the exact safety required for him to return on his own terms. The second shift is the deliberate practice of incremental vulnerability. You must master the delicate pacing of emotional connection. Intimacy is a biological dosage. If you give a starving man a massive feast, his body will violently reject the rich food. If you give the avoidant soul a massive dose of heavy relationship dialogue, his system will crash. You must focus on the architecture of the present moment. You build a formidable and lasting house brick by single brick. You do not build a secure house by dropping a heavy roof out of the sky. You must remove the crushing pressure of the destination. Stop focusing on the restrictive labels. Stop analyzing the distant future. Stop demanding the ultimate spiritual union right now. You must focus entirely on creating micro moments of safety. Offer a soft touch without a hidden expectation. Share a genuine laugh without an emotional agenda. Exist quietly in the same room without demanding deep psychological processing. Let his nervous system learn incrementally. Let his body realize that being physically and emotionally close to you does not equal a catastrophic loss of his personal autonomy. You must trust the slow and steady accumulation of safe moments. The third shift is the absolute hardest evolution of all. You must hold the mirror of grace. You must completely detach your core self-worth from his nervous system's response. His biological panic is his own burden to carry. His emotional numbness belongs entirely to his past. You must stop taking his ancient survival mechanisms as a direct critique of your profound lovability. When you tether your internal peace to his external presence, you become emotionally volatile. You become unpredictable and dangerous to his fragile equilibrium. And a volatile partner is a terrifying concept to an avoidant soul. You must reclaim your energetic sovereignty. You must find your absolute center entirely outside of his validation. You must cultivate a life that is rich and deeply fulfilling, whether he is sitting beside you or standing 1,000 miles away. When he looks at you, he must see a woman who is completely whole. He must see a woman who is entirely solvent. When he realizes that his sudden distance does not destroy you, the suffocating pressure immediately evaporates. He no longer feels responsible for your emotional survival. He realizes he cannot break you. And in the absolute absence of this heavy pressure, love naturally rushes back in. You cease to be a beautiful cage, and you finally become a sanctuary. Love is not just a feeling. Love is a skill. It is an architecture. It requires patience to understand the wiring of the person standing in front of you. It requires profound spiritual maturity to look at a man who is shutting down and see not a monster, but a nervous system overwhelmed by the terrifying beauty of your light. You are the holder of space, but you must remember to hold space for yourself first. Do not drag him into the depths before he can breathe. Build the temple slowly. Let the foundation cure. Let the walls settle. Because when the masculine nervous system finally realizes that it is safe to rest, when the armor finally drops, the love that emerges is immovable. It is a quiet, thunderous devotion that will never be broken. How are you building your temple today? Are you forcing the architecture, or are you laying the stones with grace? Until next time, stay grounded, stay sovereign,